I woke up in a cold cave to find myself reincarnated as a simple white snake. Tangled beside me was a beautiful green snake whose mind I could suddenly read. Her thoughts were filled with murderous intent, revealing she was a fallen Dragon Empress. Just as I feared for my life, a golden interface appeared announcing the 100x Rebate System. I chose the Empress as my binding target, realizing that helping her would make me unstoppable. Murong Wang was weak and injured, fleeing from the heavenly court that had stripped her of power. I slithered out into the vast forest to hunt, using my new infrared perception to find prey. I returned with a massive brown bear and dropped it right in front of the starving Empress. She hesitated out of pride, but her hunger eventually forced her to tear into the meat. Instantly, the system rewarded me with a 100-fold increase in my own sensory abilities. For days, I provided her with the finest beasts of the forest, watching her scales grow brighter. Our intimacy grew slowly, eventually unlocking the option to synthesize my divine abilities. A burning heat erupted at my brow as a sharp horn began to tear through my skull. I had evolved into a 20-meter-long silver python possessing power that rivaled true cultivators. Murong Wang stared at my new form, suspecting that I carried the blood of the Dragon clan. She secretly plotted to use me as her mount once she regained her former glory. I heard every word of her plan through my mind-reading power and felt quite indignant. Venturing deeper into the forest, I encountered a fierce level 2 snake-hunting bird. Instead of fighting head-on, I lured the winged beast into a thicket of crushing vines. I unleashed the King of Beasts' roar, paralyzing the bird before snapping its neck. My reward was a legendary dragon scale, which I fused near my heart for protection. Nearby, I discovered a lake where the spiritual aura was so thick it turned into mist. A sudden blast of water from the lake nearly crushed me, signaling a powerful guardian's presence. I retreated for now, bringing the bird's demon core back to Murong Wang. She suspected I was testing her for poison, but the demonic power was too tempting to resist. As she swallowed the core, a wave of comfort spread through her recovering body. The system triggered the rebate, instantly advancing my own rank to a mid-stage monster beast. Murong Wang was baffled by how I could level up just by lying around. She decided to follow me on my next hunt to uncover my secrets. I intentionally sped up, leaving her panicking in the dust until I offered my tail as a lift. We soon encountered a rank 1 orangutan that roared with primitive fury. I struck with lightning speed, coiling my massive body around the beast until its bones cracked. Murong Wang was stunned to see me kill a beast of the same rank with a single move. I gave her the resulting monster core, and she began to wonder if I was actually being kind. The system then granted me the god of cooking skill, which seemed useless for a snake with no hands. We pushed deeper into the woods, where we were intercepted by a level 2 tiger. The tiger was incredibly fast, its claws tearing through my scales and drawing blood. In a final struggle, I slammed my tail into its head and choked it to death. Exhausted and bleeding, I signaled Murong Wang to take the tiger's precious core. She felt a twinge of guilt, seeing that I sacrificed my own health for her growth. As she absorbed the core, her aura became violent and uncontrollable. In a sudden loss of control, she tackled me and wrapped her body around mine. I could only endure as she unintentionally purified her bloodline through our intimate contact. When she woke, she was a rank 1 monster beast, but her haughty pride remained intact. We both knew the road ahead was long, but we were finally ready to face the masters of the forest. The silver-scaled python slithered through the dense undergrowth with a renewed sense of purpose. Beside him, the small green snake flicked her tongue, sensing the spiritual energy of nearby prey. Their target was a rank 2 flame-maned boar rooting for truffles beneath a towering spirit tree. The silver python signaled for the green snake to circle around the beast's blind spot. With a sudden burst of speed, the python lunged forward, his fangs dripping with paralytic venom. The boar let out a final squeal as the green snake delivered a precision strike to its neck. Instead of eating first, the python pushed the core toward his companion. As she consumed the core, a notification chime echoed within the python's mind. The 100x Rebate system activated, flooding his body with a century's worth of cultivation energy. His scales thickened and turned a brilliant shade of metallic silver, shimmering like polished steel. The green snake watched in awe as her protector grew twice his original size in seconds. They spent the next few weeks raiding the nests of high-ranking bird monsters in the mountain peaks. Each time he gifted her a spirit fruit, his own power multiplied exponentially. They eventually found a hidden pond filled with thousand-year lotus seeds. The python ingested the seeds, feeling the dormant dragon blood in his veins begin to boil. His body cracked and stretched as a single majestic horn sprouted from his forehead. He had successfully evolved into a silver Jiao, a half-dragon capable of controlling the winds. Beside him, the green snake shed her skin to reveal elegant jade scales and a slender draconic snout. Their celebration was cut short by a thunderous vibration shaking the very foundations of the mountain. From the horizon, a massive cloud of dust signaled the arrival of a beast tide. Leading the charge were 3 rank 4 ironclad wolves, their eyes glowing with bloodlust. The silver Jiao looked down at the encroaching horde and let out a deafening roar. The emerald Jiao took flight, her body gliding through the air on currents of spiritual energy. The 2 snakes dove into the center of the horde like twin bolts of lightning. The silver Jiao swung his massive tail, pulverizing a dozen lower-ranked beasts in a single strike. The emerald Jiao exhaled a cloud of toxic green mist that withered everything it touched. Despite their power, the sheer number of enemies began to wear them down. One of the ironclad wolves lunged at the emerald Jiao's exposed underbelly. The silver Jiao intercepted the attack, taking a deep gash across his flank to protect her. He turned his head and crushed the wolf's skull between his powerful jaws. The system pinged again, rewarding him for the sacrificial protection of a royal bloodline. A massive pillar of light descended from the heavens, incinerating the surrounding beast tide. As the dust settled, thousands of monster cores lay scattered across the scorched earth. The silver Jiao began to systematically gather the cores, planning his next move. The emerald Jiao landed softly beside him, nuzzling his scarred but healing neck. They followed the scent of a rare spiritual energy toward the center of the forest. There, they found the great spiritual spring, the source of all life in this region. However, the spring was not empty. A massive shadow loomed beneath the surface. A pair of glowing yellow eyes, each larger than a carriage, opened deep within the water. A rank 5 aura erupted from the spring, pinning both Jiao snakes to the ground with sheer pressure. From the depths rose a mountain-sized shell covered in jagged black iron spikes. The black iron turtle let out a low, guttural growl that caused the trees to shatter. The silver Jiao tried to summon his wind powers, but the turtle's domain suppressed all magic. As the massive beast raised a heavy foot to crush them, the system screen flashed a final desperate warning. The screen blinked red with a message, "Ultimate sacrifice required for survival, do you accept?" The silver python stared at the system prompt as the black iron turtle's foot descended like a falling mountain. He knew that without a miracle, the Dragon Empress beside him would be crushed into dust. With a mental command, he clicked accept and felt his very life force begin to drain into the Empress. A searing heat tore through his scales as his essence blood was forcefully extracted by the system. The system interface suddenly flashed gold, announcing the activation of the 100x Rebate ability. Because he had given his ultimate sacrifice to a higher being, the return was more massive than ever before. The black iron turtle let out a deafening roar as it sensed the sudden surge of terrifying power from its prey. The Dragon Empress opened her eyes, which now glowed with the pure authority of a true celestial being. Her broken jade scales shed away, revealing a new layer of indestructible dragon armor. The protagonist felt his own body elongating and his silver horn splitting into 2 magnificent branches. He let out a roar that shook the very foundations of the spiritual mountain. The black iron turtle retreated a step, realizing its shell might no longer be enough to protect it. The protagonist charged forward, his body moving like a streak of silver lightning across the dark sky. The Empress rose beside him, summoning emerald wind blades that sliced through the turtle's thick hide. The turtle tried to hide inside its shell, but the protagonist slammed his silver head into the center of its defense. A thunderous crack echoed as the indestructible black iron shell began to spider web with fractures. Using the system's power, the protagonist infused his fangs with a 100x concentrated poison. He bit deep into the turtle's neck, injecting the lethal concoction into its ancient veins. The turtle wailed in pain as its internal organs began to melt from the sheer potency of the toxin. The Empress gathered the spiritual energy of the entire spring into a single beam of jade fire. With a final strike, she unleashed the beam, vaporizing the head of the rank 5 beast instantly. Silence fell over the valley as the massive body of the black iron turtle collapsed into the lake. The protagonist landed on the shore, his silver scales reflecting the soft moonlight. The Empress slithered toward him, her golden eyes filled with an emotion she had never shown before. She touched her head against his, acknowledging him as her equal and her savior. The system pinged one last time, rewarding them with the turtle's rank 5 inner core. With this core, they could finally reach the legendary status of true dragons. They shared the core's energy, allowing the spiritual essence to flow through their combined link. Their bodies began to glow so brightly that they looked like 2 miniature suns on the earth. 4 legs sprouted from their bodies, and their scales became as hard as divine metal. Long whiskers grew from their snouts as they shed their snake-like forms forever. 2 massive dragons, one silver and one green, soared into the sky, their shadows covering the land. The other beasts of the forest bowed their heads in submission to the new lords of the region. The protagonist realized that his journey from a tiny snake had finally reached its peak. The Dragon Empress flew beside him, no longer a fallen queen, but a reigning goddess of the skies. She sent him a mental message, thanking him for the sacrifice that had changed her fate. Together, they vowed to protect the spiritual spring and build a kingdom where strength was used for justice. The first light of dawn hit their scales, turning the valley into a paradise of gold and silver. The 100x Rebate system had not just given him power, but a family and a purpose in this new world. Hand in hand, or claw in claw, the Serpent King and his Empress began their eternal reign. Their legend would be told for generations as the snakes who dared to become gods.
Xin chào, nhận được các tháng rồi.